What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today I wanted to showcase one of the most unique Pokemon in the Go Battle League, which is Morpeko. This Pokemon in battle can change between throwing electric and dark type charge moves with Aura Wheel. Every time you throw a charge attack, it swaps back and forth. It is an extremely unique Pokemon, has a lot of sweeping potential, and is very powerful. If you want to see my battles live, I stream almost every single day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see live insights into my gameplay and potentially see my teams early. I'd love to see you there. The link to that is in the description. But without further ado, let's get into the battles and see what Morpeko can do. Alright, let's get into game number one here. Morpeko in the lead up against a Wigglytuff. That's a terrible lead. Charm is obviously super effective against our dark type Pokemon here, but we have our Shadow Quagsire that we can swap in, try to go for an Aqua Tail before they swap out, get some chip damage against them to maybe make it a little bit easier to take out in the future. Aqua Tail ends up landing, does about half of their health, and then they end up swapping out with a lot of energy. In comes a Gastrodon, a Pokemon that once again our Morpeko really does not want to see, and Shadow Quagsire at this point probably cannot two-shot with Aqua Tail before getting Mudshot all the way down just because of how bulky Gastrodon ends up being. I do want to shield up though. I think at this point they're running a fast new pressure team. I don't have too many options to shield this game, so I might as well shield something, get this Aqua Tail off, maybe chip down this Gastrodon into a farm down range for our Jumpluff, and maybe leverage energy on Jumpluff later on this game. Aqua Tail ends up getting them pretty low. I swap into our Jumpluff here to try our best to build up an energy lead. They end up doing a body slam before swapping out because these switch clocks are desynced. Maybe they have to get a full farm down here, or maybe they can swap out now. No, they do opt to swap to Wigglytuff, which is interesting. It's not a Drifloon that comes in here, which means that it's probably going to be double ground in the backline, and our Jumpluff has a lot of work to do right now. Energy Ball ends up getting the next shield, I guess the first shield rather, from this Wigglytuff, and I know they could Icy Wind us right now. I have to shield this up, knowing that if they land that, it would one-shot us, and I don't think I can sweep with my Morpeko right now. In comes our next Energy Ball in just a second, or maybe I go for an Aerial Ace Bait, but that would be a little bit risky, because if they do end up letting that go, they would survive after that debuff. Energy Ball ends up either knocking them out, or, yeah, it just knocks them out. No shield from our opponent. We do see their final Pokemon is a Shadow Kanto Marowak, another Mudslapper, another hard answer to our Morpeko. Our Jumpluff is going to have so much work to do right now. We get the shield with the Energy Ball. We are attack dropped. I'm going to try to go for the catch on the rock side with our Shadow Quagsire. This is exactly what we needed right now. Now I have cleared my debuff with our Jumpluff. Energy Ball is going to do a lot of damage as long as we can reach it, and I know as long as they don't make a catch, I should be able to land this move against them, do a massive amount of damage here, end up throwing this move against this Shadow Marowak. Is this enough to knock out? If it isn't, I have to hope that Morpeko can close out this game, because they are so dangerously close right now to another Rock Slide. They do reach it right now, right before the Fairy Wind down, but I think we can Thundershock this down, go for a Psychic Fangs against the Gastrodon, and Morpeko might just be able to take out two ground types this game, taking game number one against Charm and double Mudslap. That is a crazy team to be able to beat here. Jumpluff putting in overtime, but Morpeko finishing things off. GG's to our opponent. Let's see what we can do in the next game here. We're going to see Morpeko in the lead up against a Diggersby. Okay, no break here. Another very bad lead to see. I'm going to safe swap to our Shadow Quagsire, see if we can throw an Aqua Tail against them, but they end up swapping instantly to a Shadow Feraligatr. This is a little bit awkward because I do know at this point that if I don't get two baits off, they are able to win this matchup if they call an Aqua Tail. I do see MP the Aqua Tail here though, and I shield to maybe kind of coerce them to shield on their own. Aqua Tail ends up landing, oh, it actually ends up getting a shield here, which is fantastic for us, because now if I bait one more time, or if I can just land the Stone Edge, I might be able to win this matchup. Once again, we CMP here, Aqua Tail, and our opponent's Hydro Cannon, and if I can get a shield with this move, then I can land a Stone Edge in just a second, and I can basically flip switch advantage this game, making it so we don't have to worry about that Diggersby against our Morpeko. In comes our Stone Edge. I try to wait a turn here, but unfortunately I still fall for the catch here. Diggersby ends up coming in, catching the Stone Edge. It does a massive amount of damage. Not really. It does almost nothing, but it is a massive waste of our energy, that is. I save some energy left over on our Shadow Quagsire, and then I'm going to swap into our Jumpluff to make sure we can do something with our Jumpluff this game. We are going to try our best to go for these energy balls. I know that they've already been kind of weak to Jumpluff with that Gator lead, so their final Pokemon is likely going to be an answer to us. What are they going to throw here? Going to be a Fire Punch, it looks like. They can't quite knock us out with the next one, but I want to get this move off before they can swap out once again, because these switch clocks are going to be pretty decent. I have that Aqua Tail loaded in the backline. Energy Ball ends up landing, doing quite a bit of damage here to this Diggersby, but the thing is, there's still going to be that Shadow Gator in the backline that I don't really know how I'm going to take out at this point. Fire Punch ends up not barely knocking us out here, and in the backline going to be a Corsola, a Pokemon that we have planned to with our Morpeko, but we have to keep in mind they are one move away from a Hydro Cannon on that Shadow Feraligatr, one more Shadow Claw, and they're at the Hydro Cannon, and our Morpeko is stuck right now in Electric form. If I can come in here as a Dark-type Pokemon, I think we'd be in a much better spot, but because I can't one-shot them with our Aura Wheel, we are going to be forced to take this move and go for the Aura Wheel. Now, maybe I can knock them out with this. It's a strong attack, but Corsola is so bulky. If they survive this, they might even astonish us down here. If we were the Dark type here, we would have been in a much better spot, but unfortunately, because of the way the form change mechanic works, you always are Electric type before you end up throwing a charge move, and that is going to be GG's to them. All right, next matchup, yes, another tricky lead, a Clodsire this time. Going to try our best here to win this matchup with our Morpeko. I know that our Jumpluff in the backline is pretty weak to this, and the thing is, Morpeko does actually put in quite a bit of work here with Psychic Fangs, and also since we have Dark type Aura Wheel every other throw, you can potentially get some debuffs off with Psychic Fangs, and then go for a heavy-hitting move later on that they might want to shield. That said, I'm almost certain this is going to be a Stone Edge or a Sludge Bomb. Most of the time, they don't end up going for the big charge move here, knowing they would get heavily outpaced if they do. I end up no-shielding the Stone Edge, landing this potential Aura Wheel Dark. They shield it, so an Electric-type Pokemon getting a shield actually from a Ground-type Pokemon. Fantastic stuff, but they do get a massive farm down. I'm going to come in Shadow Quagsire, see what we can do here. They end up throwing a charge move here. I'm going to shield it, knowing that Earthquake is going to do massive damage to us right now, and see what they want to do. If they swap out, then we'll have to play it by ear, see what we want to do with our Shadow Quagsire. We catch, actually, with this Hydro Cannon on our Jumpluff, knowing that they were kind of forced to throw instantly if they didn't want to get Stone Edge, so they forced the move here against our Jumpluff, and now if there is any chance for us to go for an Energy Ball before they get to another charge attack, that is exactly what we're going to throw. We have a lot of energy on Shadow Quagsire. We have a potential Jumpluff that might have some use in the backline, but we know their Clodsire is still around, which could be somewhat uncomfortable. With that said, in the backline here for our opponent, going to be a Dugong, a Pokemon that is a little bit scary for our Flying and Grass type, but we can bait an Aerial Ace, and if we can ever land an Energy Ball, that is going to put them instantly into range where a Stone Edge can easily knock them out. In comes the next Energy Ball. We got the proper bait off here with that Aerial Ace, and as long as I land this and I don't get a catch here from my opponent on our Stone Edge, then I should be in a good spot. But honestly, even if they do catch, which is exactly what does end up happening here, I am going to be, I think, totally fine at this point, right? They're energy dry on this Clodsire. I can overfarm here, potentially come out of this matchup with a full-on Stone Edge to throw against that Dugong once again. I'm not even in range where I think an Earthquake would knock us out, but I don't even know if they're going to be able to reach another Earthquake at this point. Mudshots are adding up so quickly, I might be able to farm them all the way down, and then it's just Stone Edge that Dugong, taking the win here this game. GG's to our opponent. Tricky lead, but able to come back in the backline. Alright, next game, Morpeko in the lead, up against a Shadow Jumpluff. This is a bit of an interesting lead matchup. You might expect it to be bad for Morpeko, taking a lot of super effective Fairy Wind damage, but I mean, unless they throw an Energy Ball against you, you actually don't really take that much damage from the charge moves, and because Morpeko is so offensive, you can see just how much damage an Energy Ball, or an Aura Wheel rather, is going to do to them, and because they end up building up extra energy, at this point, if this is an Energy Ball, that's fine. I can just no-shield this and neutralize this with the backline. If this is an Aerial Ace, then I can outpace them here, win CMP with this Psychic Fangs, potentially knocking out this Jumpluff without them getting much damage off against us. I mean, I guess we're in the red at this point, but we've neutralized a Pokemon that we really do not want to see with our Shadow Quagsire, and they farm us down with an Annihilate. This is what our Jumpluff is here for. Jumpluff and Morpeko is a very strong core most of the time. Anything that Morpeko is weak to, Jumpluff should be able to handle. Our opponent having a Dunsparce in the backline as well. Looks like we were able to win switch and win game that time. Alright, next lead here, a terrible lead matchup. Unova Stunfisk up against our Morpeko. This is not what you want to see, and in the backline, when we safe swap our Shadow Quagsire, we're going to be met with a Jumpluff. This is absolutely terrible right now because these Energy Balls are going to one-shot us. Stone Edge not quite enough to one-shot them, and I know that even if we get baits off here, this is not the old Quagsire. We're not as spammy as we used to be. I don't think we can outpace this Jumpluff even if we get 2 baits off. That said, we do have to try, right? Maybe I can flip switch advantage, and then maybe Morpeko in the backline is going to have a little bit of play. We'll see what we can do. Aquatail, number 1 going to come through. Do we end up getting a shield, or do they end up calling the bait? Fortunately, a shield does come through, but I know at this point it's a futile effort. Maybe I can make a catch happen at some point, catch an Energy Ball on our own Jumpluff, and maybe bait them again with Aquatail, keep our Quagsire alive. I'm going to throw the Aquatail, but unfortunately they end up CMPing the move. I guess that means they don't have any residual energy for the backline, but what this also means is we can never use this energy that we have on our Quagsire. They end up knocking us out with this Energy Ball, and now I'm going to have to try to come in with our Morpeko, maybe make something happen. I can maybe farm this down, or they swap out actually instantly and come in with that Unova Stunfisk once again. With that said, Morpeko might be looking at another hard counter in the backline. I'm surprised that they instantly swapped out here, but by them doing that, I think I just go for these Energy Balls against this Unova Stunfisk. There isn't a lot in the game that walls our energy as much as this Ufisk does, so at this point I do have to go for these Energy Balls and knock it out, so our Morpeko is going to be freed up a little bit in the backline. We will need yet another Energy Ball if we want to knock them out, so it's going to be interesting to see if they end up swapping out again, or if they're not even going to be able to before we can reach that move. They do throw another charge move. I know that at this point we can survive it, overfarm as much as possible, maybe have an Aerial Ace coming out of this matchup. If they come back in that Jumpluff, I should be able to knock them out and make it so our Morpeko is just in a 1v1 in the backline. Being down shields as a Morpeko user, though, always a very scary thing. They do actually bring back in that Jumpluff here. I go for the Aerial Ace. This might get the knockout, but it might not. I'm going to swap out here instantly to Morpeko, try to get an energy lead, and see what we can do right now. Doesn't quite knock them out here, but we go for the Thundershot down. We take out the Jumpluff in the backline, one of the squishiest Pokemon in the game. Our opponent doesn't even want to see the one-shot happen, but Aura Wheel would have been more than enough here to knock them out. GG's to them, Morpeko able to somehow come back from that game. Next matchup here, a matchup you might not expect to be a good lead, but honestly, Morpeko has so much play here because because the drill run damage is going to be shielded, and we outpace in the 2-shield matchup to these aura wheels. If they want to shield something, they're going to have to no-shield the first one, because the first one does the least amount of damage. I say that, and yet we've already put them basically into the red, just with fast move and charge move pressure. What are they going to throw? Obviously, it's going to be a drill run. I have to shield this move up, and at this point, I'm just going to play out the 2-shield matchup here, try to farm them all the way down, and use our Morpeko to its best ability. Psychic Fang is going to come through. They end up having to shield a Psychic Fangs of all thing, and now I know if they throw another charge move, I can shield farm them all the way down and have way too much energy in the backline where there's almost nothing they can do unless they have a hard wall for where our energy is going to go. I'm a boosted Morpeko. We have a lot of energy. What is going to come in here? It's going to be interesting to see what our opponent has to counteract us here. They come in with a Toxapex. They're going to have to shield this move. This is a super effective electric type boosted aura wheel. It ends up nearly one-shotting one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game. They come in with a Talonflame of all things. That is by no means an answer to an insanely boosted Morpeko. We go for the Psychic Fangs bait. We get a shield with that as well. And at this point, this game is basically over. I know I don't get to another charge move, but at this point, I can survive a Brave Bird with our Shadow Quagsire, go for an Aqua Tail, get the knockout here, and that Toxapex in the backline not going to be enough to take care of our Jumpluff. In comes the Brave Bird. It does a massive amount, but they needed that third Incinerate to do enough damage to knock us out here. Aqua Tail is going to be enough to knock them out, and now our Jumpluff in the backline is going to get its revenge against Toxapex. Normally, this is a terrible matchup for Jumpluff, but we should be able to knock them out. Our opponent doesn't even want to see it happen. GG's to them. Next game, Morpeko in the lead up against an Annihilate. That's not what you want to see, but I can save swap my Shadow Quagsire. It is very spammy. We can reach a move before they reach a move. This Aqua Tail not going to quite knock them out or anything, but if I can reach 2 charge moves, it can win the Zero Shield matchup as long as they don't go for a close combat against us. Aqua Tail number 1 does end up landing. They go for a Rage Fist instantly, so I'm not going to shield it. I'm going to let this go, get the next Aqua Tail off, potentially get a shield advantage this game, and then use that as a way to win this matchup later on, hopefully. In comes the Aqua Tail. Maybe it gets a shield. Maybe they let it go at this point, though. No, they do end up shielding Annihilate. So what I want to do is come in with our Jumpluff, try to absorb all of the energy that we can, wait down our Switch Clock, because they haven't swapped just yet, and now in comes our Jumpluff here. They end up swapping out to a Dugong. If I can reach this before their charge move, I might be able to one-shot them here, too. Morpeko able to reach this Aura Wheel. Is this enough to take out a Dugong? It's an extremely bulky Pokemon, but not bulky enough. Down goes the Dugong. Annihilate does come back in here, but I think I can get a full Thunder Shock down. Might have a chance to win this game. It's going to be a little bit risky, though. Rage Fist is going to boost their attack stat. These counters are adding up so quickly. This is going to be a close endgame, especially with a Carbink in the back. We get a Psychic Fangs debuff off, but the thing is, our Jumpluff is going to take super effective Rock Throw damage here, and I don't know if I can reach 2 charge moves or 3 charge moves before they can reach 2 charge moves of their own. If they're running Power Gem, then I know at this point we should be able to outpace, but if they are running Rock Slide, they might be able to reach 2 moves before we reach our 3rd Energy Ball. They end up shooting that first attack. Very smart play. Very risky bait if I would have gone for an Aerial Ace there. So I end up throwing the Energy Ball, and because of that, that's a lot of energy down the drain. We end up shielding, but it's a Power Gem. They are not running Rock Slide, so that means we will be able to get these 3 charge moves off as long as we don't get Rock thrown down here. Jumpluff very bulky. You can see, especially after that Psychic Fangs debuff, this next Energy Ball will be more than enough to KO this bulky Rock-type Pokemon Jumpluff, a Flying type taking out one of its worst matchups once again. GG's to our opponent there. Very tricky game. Next matchup, what are we going to see our Morpeko lead off into? It's going to be a Gastrodon. That is a terrible lead. Going to have to swap out once again to our Shadow Quagsire. Try to make something happen this game. In comes that Wigglytuff. So yet another Pokemon that our Morpeko doesn't really want to see. We have Aqua Tail ready to go against this though. I know I can probably get both shields from this Pokemon, and if that is the case, maybe we're going to have play here, but I also know that there's a good chance it's just an RPS lineup. If they don't have a hard answer to our Jumpluff in the backline, I would be somewhat surprised. I see this core oftentimes with a Flyer in the back, which would not be what our Jumpluff wants to see. I can shield this up if I want to try to land another Aqua Tail, and I feel like that is going to be the best play. They go for a Swift of all things, not even an Icy Wind to try to survive this next charge move, but that is fine by me. We have this Aqua Tail ready to go, likely to get that second shield from this Wigglytuff. Aqua Tail does in fact get shielded, and now I'm going to make the call that since I don't think Morpeko is useful here, just come in with it, try to go for a Psychic Fangs, get the knockout against this Wigglytuff if we can, and if this doesn't knock out, then I guess just fair win them down after the fact. Psychic Fangs ends up, I don't think that was a KO actually, no, that doesn't quite KO them. They reach a Swift, which is really annoying, but I know I can get a Fairy Wind down. As long as their backline is not a hard answer to our Jumpluff, we might have a chance here. One is going to come in, hopefully something our Jumpluff has play into. That is maybe one of the worst things we could see, actually. A Flying-type Pokemon, Pidgeot, actually. Not a very common Pokemon, but one of the worst matchups our Jumpluff could possibly have seen there. Next matchup, a Shadow Gator in the lead. Fantastic stuff. And they're staying in here. Look at how much damage these Thunder Shocks are doing. That's not even with an attack boost or a defense drop on their side. That's just because of the buff this season to Thunder Shock. Very powerful move. We end up going for Aura Wheel. They CMP'd us with a Hydro Cannon. I have to shield this up. Morpeko being one of the squishiest Pokemon in the game. If I let this through, we'd either be Shadow Claw down or maybe even just get knocked out there. And since I went for that boost, I could probably knock them out with the Psychic Fangs at this point. That is what we end up throwing, but they catch the move on Diggersby. At this point, I'm kind of wishing I went for the Aura Wheel. That would do so much damage, probably over half of a Diggersby's health, but at least we got the debuff on them. I can overfarm a lot more energy here and potentially use this energy in the backline. We try to catch a Scorching Sands on our jump up, but our opponent opting to just overfarm. Very patient by them. I can go for Energy Balls. They are debuffed, but I think they might be able to win this matchup if they want to. They have so much energy here that this next Fire Punch is going to be reached before we even reach one Energy Ball. They're going to be able to reach their third one before we can knock them out likely, but this is fine at this point. We just want to whittle down the Diggersby. I'm not that scared of that Gator with how much energy my Morpeko has, and as long as they don't have another ground type in the backline, Morpeko with that much energy is going to be very hard for them to overcome. In comes a Talonflame here, a Pokemon that we really don't want to see, and we don't want to give an energy lead to, but our Morpeko once again has so much energy. There's a Gator in the backline. We know that there's a Talonflame here. They were ABA weak to our Morpeko. We're going to go straight for the Aura Wheel. If they shield this, I can throw yet another charge move. If they no shield, it's just going to be a Morpeko sweep almost certainly. I can go for the Psychic Fangs against the Diggersby, knock them out here guaranteed, and then maybe even Thundershock down that Shadow Gator, not even needing our Quagsire in the backline. This is looking like a 3-ball flex right now. They do throw a charge move. It's not going to be enough though, because at this point they're not going to reach another move before I can go for a full Thundershock down. Hydro Cannon gets shielded. Thundershock's doing so much damage to the Shadow Gator. GG's to our opponent. Alright, next matchup, Morpeko in the lead up against an Annihilate, a Shadow Annihilate that is. One of the scariest Pokemon we could possibly see here. The fast pressure would be absolutely insane if I stayed in, so I end up swapping out to Shadow Quagsire, going for an Aqua Tail. Maybe I'll draw a shield from them here, maybe I won't. It really depends on how much they want to value their health. They do end up shielding that move, and the thing is, I know I won't get any better advantage if I play out the longer shielding scenarios. One shield lead is about all I can really hope for here. I wanted to just sack our Shadow Quagsire, try to come in with our Jump Up now, get either an Aerial Ace off against this and sweep with Morpeko, or maybe just see what they want to do right now. They end up going for a charge move, it looks like here, before swapping out, or even they might just be sacking their Annihilate at this point. I'm going to no-shield, maybe it's an Ice Punch, but it is going to be a Rage Fist. We don't get one shot there, and in comes a B-Barrel. I see the opportunity here to go for an Energy Ball, maybe even get a Thundershock down against this, and in comes Energy Ball. How much damage is it going to do? Maybe should have undercharged that, because if I got a perfect undercharge here, I would be able to shield once and get probably like 7 or 8 Thundershocks, make it so I'd have 2 Psychic Fangs for that Shadow Annihilate. I didn't know how much damage an Energy Ball would do, so a little bit of a misplay by me. If I would have had more energy here, then this Annihilate would be sitting in the water with almost nothing to do, but now they're going to get so much counter damage off against us that we're going to be in range where maybe anything in the backline that is even weak to Morpeko could potentially fast move us down. Psychic Fangs ends up getting that shield, which isn't that surprising. We do reach another Psychic Fangs, but I don't know what we could beat in the backline right now. Actually, no, they end up catching on an Azumarill. Fantastic catch by our opponent. That is not what you want to see. We are stuck in our matchup here. I don't think I can quite get to another charge move. If I could have reached that Psychic Fangs, we would have been able to put them into range where Energy Ball would knock out. I could overfarm here, have an Aerial Ace coming out of this matchup to throw against that Annihilate, but at this point, if this is not enough to knock out or put them into Fairy Wind downrange, then I know that they can come back in with that Annihilate, go for a Rage Fist against us, and take us out. This is not looking good, but I think we have to try, right? Try to go for the farm down. There is going to be a chance here. Can we get it? No, they are right next to their next Ice Beam there. I have to throw this charge move. It's not going to be able to be enough energy, though, left over to get to a move against this Annihilate before they can go for either a close combat Ice Punch, Rage Fist. No matter what they throw, we're going to get knocked out here. It's going to end up being a close combat, actually. So GG's to them. Very close game. Should have overfarmed. Honestly, should have undercharged the Energy Ball with our Jump Up against that B-Barrel. Would have been a much better matchup. Another Annihilate in the lead. Can I catch a break, please? This is one of the worst leads we could see, and I keep seeing it back to back to back. Shadow Quagsire safe swapping in, trying its best to go and win the Zero Shield matchup once again. If they throw a move after 6 counters, I know it's only a Rage Fist. I don't have to worry about shielding it. I just like using my Shadow Quagsire to get damage against this and to maybe even draw a shield. If that is the case, then I'm going to be able to make it so maybe Morpeko in the backline can go for Psychic Fangs against this, and once Annihilate is gone, I'm hoping that their backline is going to be somewhat weak to our Electric-type Pokemon. They do get the full counter down here, which is very scary. They are boosted. They could have Ice Punch. Once again, our Jump Up would take so much damage if they end up landing that move, but I'm going to come back in here anyway. We end up getting denied because of a 1-turn lag, but that's fine at this point. We don't really need the energy. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but we are going to be able to reach a move one way or another. They end up safe swapping to a Drapion after going for a boosted Ice Punch against our Jump Up. This is a non-Shadow, actually, Drapion here. People always asking which one is better. I think the Shadow is always the better play, but the non-Shadow having Sludge Bomb as well. Very interesting pick. I have back-to-back Aura Wheels right now. If If they end up shielding this up, I can overfarm even more, go for a Psychic Fangs against that Ape in the backline. They do end up shielding it. The animation there kind of going crazy, but we are able to overfarm once again. What move do they throw? It's going to be a Crunch, so we know that they're running Sludge Bomb and Crunch. I can go 5 more Thundershocks here, go for an Orbital, which at this point, even though it's resisted, should be more than enough to take out this Drapion. We have another charge move in the bank here, going for a Psychic Fangs against that potential Annihilate. Will be able to knock them out. They come back in with it instantly. We go for the Psychic Fangs before a counter comes through. We did get defense dropped here, so we have to keep that in mind right now. If they come in with something that could fast move us down, we see that it's an Azumarill that comes in, and I'm stuck in my Dark-type form. This is where, if you know how to use Morpeko, it really just comes in handy, right? We are stuck in Dark-type form, but if you swap out, you can make it so you're going to be back into Electric form the next time you come back in. So now we can land this Energy Ball here. They're going to go for an Ice Beam, but since we have that Electric-type damage in the backline now, there is nothing that they can do. Ice Beam knocks us out, sure, but we are Electric-type Morpeko. This is going to do way too much damage to this Azumarill. This should be more than enough to close out this game and take us a win in this match. GG's them, another Ape lead. Hopefully you don't see that too much more. And a rank 18 battler. Did you see that? This person doesn't even have Elo yet. We queued into them because I was sitting in queue for like 30 minutes. We are so high up right now. No one to battle. And of course, we're getting RPS. It looks like a Diggersby in the lead up against this. If you end up losing a game against someone this low below you, good luck going positive in a set like that. You're not going to gain much elo, even if you end up beating them, and if you lose to them, man, you're going to lose so much elo. In comes the Scorching Sands. It ends up not debuffing us, fortunately. In comes a Shadow Driftblim, so Pokemon or Morpeko would love to see. I go for the Aqua Tail, but that was probably a bad bait. I'm not getting into another charge move anyway, but I would expect a shield from this opposing trainer, which is exactly what happens. This is looking so bad, though, because even though Morpeko does, in theory, win this matchup, it's going to be so hard to try to flip this, and Icy Wind is going to be able to do a lot of damage if we don't shield it. We will be able to boost our attack back up with this Aura Wheel, but Driftblim is going to be more than enough to at least get to another Icy Wind, maybe even knock us out if I don't shield it, and this is such a bad situation to be in. We did land that Aqua Tail against that Diggersby earlier, but as you can tell, we are in range, or we are in the Dark-type mode right now, right? So if I throw a charge move, we're going to be locked into the Electric-type mode. Electric is going to do nothing to Diggersby. If this was the other way around, if I just threw this move, and now I was in the Dark-type mode, I know I could throw that charge move, knock out Diggersby from this range, but I'm locked in Electric-type. I have to swap out of there, and in the backline, of course, they have a Shadow Drapion. One of the worst things you could possibly see here, getting absolutely RPS'd by this rank 18 trainer. Aerial Ace able to come through and do a decent chunk of damage, but Shadow Drapion should be able to get to 2 crunches here and knock us out. Honestly, even if somehow I knock out this Drapion here, that Diggersby is way too healthy. An Electric-type Aura Wheel is not going to be enough, and the thing is, I know at this point that they have so much energy. Fire Punch will knock out my Morpeko, or even Scorching Sands if they can reach it, and there is basically nothing I can do. They do actually let us get this Ace off. I guess they're overfarming way too much right now, but we can try to go for a move against Diggersby. I don't think it's going to be at all enough here to knock them out, unless I can reach an Energy Ball. We end up CMPing here. They are almost at back-to-back charge moves, though, so even if I tried to catch a move, they could undercharge it, quick attack down our Morpeko, and then go for yet another Fire Punch here. So that is not looking great. Is this range where an Electric-type Aura Wheel can knock out? I know it's going to be a very strong move, but it's also an Electric-type move into a Ground-type Pokemon. I'm not sure this is enough right now. Let's see what happens. Aura Wheel ends up not quite knocking them out, and we end up losing the game. So GG's to them. That's a lot of elo down the drain, unfortunately for us. Going to be a very bad set if we cash that in. Next game, we're going to see a Jumpluff up against our Morpeko. A very neutral lead matchup here. Obviously, we do have access to these Aura Wheels. We've seen a Shadow no shield. Non-Shadow going to be able to survive this a little bit better, but once again, they have to actually land an Energy Ball if they want to do any sort of charge move pressure. They are building up quite a bit of energy here. If this is going to be an Energy Ball, I don't want to get one shot right now. I'm going to shield this up just to make it so our Quagsire isn't going to have to deal with this quite as much later on, or we're going to end up coming through. Do they want to shield, or are they fine with a shield advantage right now? Or we'll ends up knocking out the Jumpluff, actually. Fantastic news for us. What are they going to come in with here? Are they going to come in with a Ground-type Pokemon? Or, no, it's a Morpeko of their own, actually. A Pokemon that is not a counter to Morpeko. I mean, in a way it is. You actually resist all the charge moves, but I am boosted. I have an energy lead. They're going to be forced to go and shield this matchup. I bait the Psychic Fangs here. I try to CMP the next one, but unfortunately they do end up winning CMP with their Morpeko. I can now come in with either our Jumpluff or our Shadow Quagsire. The thing is, a Jumpluff lead normally is going to have things in the backline weak to our Quagsire, just not this Morpeko. I mean, Morpeko is weak to our Quagsire, but I want to save it just in case there's like a Dunsparce or maybe a Drapion in the backline. In comes a boosted Aura Wheel. It does so much damage to us, but we are able to survive and get to a charge move. I'm going to watch for a catch, and in comes a Shadow Drapion. A good catch attempt by our opponent, but we were watching that switch clock, or which the top right corner rather, seeing what was going to come in, and they did end up swapping swapping to a Pokemon that would easily have resisted our Energy Ball. They end up going for a Crunch here, which does a lot of damage. This next Aqua Tail is going to not be able to knock them out quite yet, but if they let this through, I have another Aqua Tail almost loaded, and I'm going to be able to reach that Energy Ball on our Jump Love. So at this point, they are forced to shield, but I can overfarm here, make it so I can reach an Aqua Tail with our Shadow Quagsire, and then an Energy Ball in the backline should be enough to close out this game. Aqua Tail at this range should be more than enough to take out this Shadow Drapion. It knocks them out easily here, and comes out Morpeko. They're going to be forced to throw a Psychic Fangs, but now they're only at 1 Thundershock of energy. I have that Energy Ball already loaded. I only need an Aerial Ace at this point, too, to knock them out, but I'm going to throw the Energy Ball, get the guaranteed knockout, and take the win against the opposing Morpeko team. GG's to our opponent. Very cool team. Another trader using the Morpeko and Jump Up core, actually, but ours was able to come out on top thanks to Shadow Quagsire in the backline. A 4-1 set here to end off the day. That 4-1 set, though, was with that huge down pair. You're about to see something very annoying right now. I think I was at 2875 to start out this set. So let's see how much elo we end up actually gaining here just a second. Yeah, 2875. How much elo do you think this gives us? We're at 2899 now. That is only 24 points for a 4-1 set. That is... I don't even know what to say. That's ridiculous. Morpeko's trying his best, but when you queue into someone, that's such a big down pair, it's just such an unfortunate thing, especially when you're trying to climb the leaderboards. But that's how it goes, I guess, when you're trying to leaderboard. The fun struggles of trying to reach Legend early. All right, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles live basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN. I'd love to see you there. The link to that is in the description. And also, if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be uploading a lot more to the channel. So thank you again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.